Put him down. Put him down. I'm not looking up.
3, 2,
Welcome back to the Agony of Positivity podcast. I am not Saul, and I am joined by...
Not Ross.
Excellent. It's a horrible intro for first-time listeners. Be like, wait, what's going on?
What if I was not paying attention? I just said, I am Saul.
I would probably have briefly debated in my mind what to do, and then just moved on and laughed about it to myself.
Saul was not paying attention to me. All right, let's just move on.
They're like, all right, so I know where I need to be for the rest of the show from an effort standpoint.
Yes.
So, yeah, we got our a new intro. I threw it on last week, but I didn't know if we would. I went with something fairly simple.
Yeah.
So the one note I want to make is I thought for this go around for a while, having a sound clip of Mr. Brody would be all right. So I was going through I found a best of his appearances on Being the Elite. And the one I wanted to use is there is one where John Silver was trying to get milk out of Ten's pectoral muscles. And Brody comes up and he's like, what's going on? Usually I got nothing for this. I was going to use like kind of that general little thing where he comes up, except he drops about 4 F-bombs in one sentence. Which if you go back and watch his stuff, that is one of the few clips I found that he doesn't drop an F-bomb in.
Yeah, sure.
Like just instead of the word the, F-bomb. So, and then if you were wondering, the countdown is from F-Zero on Super Nintendo. I was pretty pleased with the outcome. I mean, basically we took royalty-free music and put 2 sound clips on it, so it's not like a lot was done, but there you go.
I thought it was pretty good. Now we just need to change the logo.
I was actually working on that a little bit last night.
Oh, there you go.
So, I don't know. I hate the logos because I'll get something in my head and then I can't get it.
Yes.
And then I'll try to figure a different way to do it, and it is super frustrating.
Well, that's why I stopped making the logos for you, because I can tell that you're that type of. I'm like, okay, I am not playing that game, so I'll just let
for some reason.
the logos.
Well, if you want to make one, I'll use no matter what it is. I'll use it at this point.
Sure.
So, all right, how's your week been?
My week has been all right. My computer broke for a little bit. Yeah, so my wife, I'm just going off what she told me. She said she put the computer to sleep, and it wouldn't wake back up.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, I don't know what it was. So for a couple days, I was trying to figure out what was going on. And one buddy said, "Well, he's like, it sounds like it might be a power supply issue." He's like, "One thing you could do is, he's like, maybe reset it, and you get to go inside and take the battery out and put the battery back in."
Yeah.
To do it. He's like, sometimes that happens. He's like, if it's not that, then you have a power supply issue, it sounds like. So I was lazy all week, didn't really want to deal with it. And then Friday, last night, I was like, yeah, I'll just go ahead and try it. So I unplugged everything, blew all the dust out that's been there for a year.
Yes.
And took the battery out, and it works fine now.
Now when you're saying the battery, like off the motherboard?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I've been real lucky. I've had, well, maybe not, now that I'm thinking about it. I've had to do that once.
Yeah.
I've had one time where a stick of RAM went bad. And then whatever, I can't remember exactly what I figured out, but for some reason I needed to get like basically another set of RAM.
Gotcha.
Like there was some kind of weird issue or something. I've had a power supply unit go out, which that one was the worst I felt because having to rewire stuff.
Sure.
Like, even though it's not very much, it's more effort than I want to put into a computer. So,
yes.
And
I
then
agree with
like I've had like a video card go out before where the fan seized up and it just it was bad news for the
that.
card.
Oh God, you do not want to buy a video card right now. They are. I sent you a text last night
Yeah.
about that. They are expensive.
Oh yeah, or were you looking at like the 30 series?
Yes.
Yeah, you're nah. So the issues are you got the mining thing going on,
Yeah.
combined with now people have gotten their bots or their scripts or whatever you want to call it who purchase everything that becomes available.
Well, and the other thing is they said from what I read last night, they said COVID has affected them too from getting some of the parts made and everything.
Yeah,
So,
I was hearing something about a chip shortage.
yeah, like a big old. So there's like a big perfect storm happening.
Yeah, the well, even this because like I bought a so we got a micro center in our general area, I guess you would call it, and I bought one of their like store brands that they build because it doesn't come with a lot of the bloatware on the OS, which is nice, and I just don't care enough to build my own machine. And I'm afraid of thermal paste. Not really, but every time I've ever seen someone build a machine and it go wrong, they've messed up the thermal paste, which should be straightforward, but either way. But so like my has like a 1080 card in it. Like looking right now, just a 1080 or a 1070, you're still looking at $1,000 video card. I'm pretty sure those were like $400 at one point.
Yeah, they were.
So like, what can I get? I had a GTX 560 Ti once. Let's see what those are. I'm just curious if that'll even show up as something to buy. That's not like super used. There we go. I'm not really seeing anything. Oh, there's one. Yeah, so those are still regular. So if you go all the way back to like 2014, 2012 to 2014, you can get a reasonable price card.
Yes.
Arguably, if you're only playing like WoW or Hearthstone, you'll probably be in pretty good shape for it. Oh, man.
So I do have a funny vaccine story to tell you.
All right.
And so the person that got the vaccine is a guy I work with. He's like, I got the Johnson & Johnson vaccine.
Yeah.
A couple days ago. I was like, oh yeah. I was like, how's that go? He's like, well, he's like,
now is John? Like, I'm not super familiar. Is it one part or two part?
The one part. This is the one.
Okay.
Part. I think it's like I don't know the percentage, but I think it's 68.
Okay.
I don't know. It's lower than Moderna or Pfizer, I guess.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's one shot. That's one reason why he got it. He's like, I just don't want to be dealing with going back and forth. I just want to. So he heard that there was a Johnson & Johnson vaccine. This one pharmacy had it because I guess it's kind of a hole in the wall type pharmacy.
Yeah.
No one really knows about, and they have a supply there, and they're just
no one goes there.
Yeah, no one goes there. So he's like, I learned about it. So he's like, I went to this place. He's like, I'm going to take you back a couple of years to explain this story. He's like, so where we used to have the shop at, we had it in this little strip mall area. And he's like, right next door to us was a store owned by an Indian family. And he's like, one day they asked us to clean the carpets in one of the rooms,
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, okay, that's fine. So he's like, you went over there, and he's like, I cleaned it, and he's like, the entire place is just filled with like merchandise. He's like, I assume they were like some kind of like flea marketers,
Yeah.
or maybe eBay or what. He's like, whatever. So there's people that resell stuff on eBay or
maybe they, like isn't that called like drop shipping or something?
It's something, I don't know. He's
like, but either way, yeah. So they have like just a ton of stuff.
He's like, the entire place is just filled with merchandise. So he's like, well, that's kind of weird, but he figured that's what they were doing. So anyway, so he cleaned it, and he's like, so fast forward to yesterday. He's like, I go, and I'm following my GPS, and he's like, and it takes me to the strip mall where our shop used to be. He's like, I've been here before. He's like, there's a pharmacy back here? And he goes up to it and he's like, yeah, it's the building where the Indian family had their business at. He's like, okay. So he's like, I go in there and he's like, it has all the credentials of being a pharmacy and everything. He's like, I go in there and he's like, all of a sudden, in the waiting room, there's like no one in there at all. And the receptionist is like, go ahead, take a seat. Someone will be with you in a minute. Because I'm sitting there, and he's like, all of a sudden, a Indian guy comes up wearing a lab coat, and he's like, "All right, you ready to get your vaccine?" And he's like, "This is not the same family that owned the,
Right.
And he's like, I was a little hesitant at first, but he's like, it turns out everything was fine. But he's like, it's just weird that they would put a pharmacy where where that shop used to be back.
Right, because
So he's like,
last time he saw it, it was something totally different.
yes, yeah, and he's like, he's like, it was just a coincidence that the doctor was a Indian man.
Right.
He's like, it made me double think. Like, well, where am I? Is this on the level where I'm getting this vaccine?
Well, because where that place was, it's definitely tucked away.
Yeah.
So if you didn't, like, if I didn't know that the shop had been back in that area at one point in time, or I hadn't been back there because of some of the other businesses related to the shop,
yeah,
and I saw something telling me there was a pharmacy back there, I'd be like, no, I'm not going here.
yes,
Just because it's one of those, it feels sketchy unless you know.
Yes, exactly. But he's like, I got the vaccine and no issues. He's like, I was sick for. He's like, it was fine, and then at the night around like 3 o'clock in the morning, he's like, I got really bad chills for like 4 hours, and then after that, he's like, I felt fine. So.
Well, that's good. Well, and he's vaccinated, so if that's his thing, he's not worried about that.
Yeah, it was just funny. So.
Yeah, no, but I'm trying to think how to explain that area just to give someone like a visualization of what it is. And I mean, it's almost like, imagine an alley, like behind stores.
It's a weird spot to put a pharmacy. I will say that.
Well, and honestly though, because like I've noticed this with like Chinese, and it seems like Indian, or like, that general area as well, they kind of do things differently for kind of like their relatives or family, or like their people, I guess you could say. Yeah. Where our expectations is to walk into like a Walgreens or something at a Kroger, like that's the setting we're expecting. So when we don't see that, we're kind of like, I don't know. That's probably pretty standard. Like, they're probably not paying nearly the storefront price they would for that if they had like a different area, and they're doing it. I would assume they're doing everything right, because they're still going to be subject to inspections and stuff. So it's just that you don't expect it. But on the flip side, it's like there's like the hole in the wall restaurants that you would look at and be like, I don't know, but then it's like, oh, this place has like the best hamburger in town. Yes. Like you almost, for like bar food, you almost look for that hole in the wall that's almost shady. It's just our brains don't go. We go to, well lit, big parking lot pharmacy, where I can pick up candy bars too. Yes. Like, is this something? Did they get? Yeah, you're just like, is this like the black market for the vaccines? And for some reason, they're advertising online. Yes.
Well, because I mean, I've read so many stories of that actually happening.
Yeah.
So I mean, I 100% being
Well, yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, I mean, there's been all kinds of scandals with that stuff. So that's kind of funny, because I could see being like, I wonder how many people saw it, followed the directions, and were like, nope, I'm not even driving back there, let alone going into a random building.
Like, there's no pharmacy back here. What in the world?
Yeah.
No.
That's why they have supply. So
Supply of Johnson & Johnson, yep.
So there you go. If you're in Ohio and you can figure out where in the world we are talking about, there you go.
Yes.
Let's see. Yeah, my week's been pretty uneventful. I mean, I've been feeling better, so that's good. I gotta go buy shoes today. That'll be an exciting adventure.
Yes.
All right. Do you want to get into Godzilla vs. King Kong, or AEW, or Hearthstone?
Let's just talk about King Kong and see where we go with those.
All right.
So.
Let me do the thing here.
Something that could never, ever possibly destroy us. Mr. Stay Puft.
You chose poorly. You have chosen wisely.
All right. So I feel we have yet again not chosen wisely watching this movie. This one's my fault. Although I almost went back. We'd had the episode where we were just rating movies based on their coming soon posters.
Yeah.
As to how accurate we would be with this. So, what did you think overall for a 2-hour movie?
So, just going into it, I'm like, you told me like, I'm gonna watch. You're like, I'm gonna watch Godzilla. I was like, oh god, you're gonna make me watch it now. I mean, I think they delivered on what they were advertising. I mean, it's a monkey fighting a lizard, and they did bring that. That happened, I guess. Did I enjoy it? The monster part, yes, I enjoyed. The
human part?
My God, it is worse than Transformers.
You know, it's funny. I was thinking of that throughout the movie.
Yes.
So, where did... I'm going to be honest. During some of the human parts, I was playing on my phone. Because they lost me pretty quick for the human stuff. They immediately are talking about, if we move Kong from here, Godzilla's going to come to find him. Like, they already knew that. Was that brought up in the other movie and I just didn't know it?
What? That Godzilla seeks out the apex
other
predators?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they did mention that. So
okay, I couldn't remember. Like, I mean, it totally made sense, but I was like, was that discussed in one of them that I just missed? And
I thought it was funny that they were trying to play that both of them are good guys. Godzilla is not a good guy. He's clearly, if it suits him, he will destroy you because yeah.
Well, I don't know, because the only place he was attacking on land was the apex buildings.
Sure.
And we find out they had Ghidorah's skull, which I assume is what... So we're going to jump around, I have the feeling. But so you get Mechagodzilla in this, eventually.
Yes.
Which was cool. I like Mechagodzilla. It reminds me of Trypticon from Transformers, the big Tyrannosaurus city thing.
Yeah.
My assumption is because they have like Ghidorah's skull doing something. Yeah. I might be pronouncing it wrong, but you know what I'm talking about. I assume the skull somehow took over the robot. And because they had the skull alive and it was feeding signals, that's why Godzilla was showing up.
Okay.
So that's why he was attacking the apex buildings, is he knew something was up and he was trying to destroy what he felt was a threat.
Yeah.
So in that case, and it turned out he was very accurate.
Yes, but is he destroying it because it's a threat to the Earth, or it's a threat to him? That's what I'm saying.
Well, he just wants to fight.
Sure.
Nothing wrong with a man just wanting to fight.
Sure. So he's like Sid Vicious in wrestling. He just wants to beat people up.
Yeah, wrestling Sid Vicious, not Sex Pistols Sid Vicious.
Yeah, yes. Yes. Wrestling Sid Vicious.
Yeah. Or Finlay. Fit Finlay. He just loves to fight.
Sure. Yeah.
But yeah, so Man, it drove me crazy. There's a number of things that drove me crazy in this.
Yes.
Mostly the human parts. If I could just watch the monster fights.
Yes.
And give me like a tail of the tape before each round, that would have been plenty.
So the people supporting Godzilla are annoying. No. The people supporting King Kong are annoying. The people supporting Godzilla are super annoying.
Wow, yeah. So the one guy, I know that this is just supposed to be a fun movie where monsters fight each other.
Yes.
But when you put in certain things, I can't not have an opinion on it. So you get, was it Bernard? Is that the guy's name? The podcast guy?
Podcast guy?
Yeah.
I just call him podcast guy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So he does a conspiracy type podcast basically aimed at Apex because he thinks they're up to something. Which obviously he is very correct. He just doesn't know how correct he is. But that drove me crazy because they don't really go into his background at all.
No.
And because he's portrayed as like a typical, like, almost crazy conspiracy person, it makes you want to, like, you have that tendency to discredit those people when they're like, when they're into every conspiracy, because they're bringing up like the fluoride, the tap water, a whole bunch of other stuff as you like kind of meet the character. It's like, okay, so he's into like every conspiracy from what I can tell. So I immediately want to discredit him. And I'm like, well, how did he get a job where he has access to some of this stuff? And like later on, he's like a second level engineer or something like that. So it's like, okay, so he is like qualified for something, but we don't know that the entire time.
Well, and that's fine, but they amped his conspiracy like level up to like if a scale 1 to 10, he's like amped up to 20. He is so weird and
yeah. Well, and
I would never hire a guy like that.
Right. Well, I mean, assuming he knows how to play it, but so something else that bothers me is pretty much everywhere I work nowadays, like any job I've had, they have like social media programs.
Yes.
Where they like basically monitor, like they will figure out who you are, and if you say certain things that are work related, they'll be on you about it.
Yeah.
I would have to assume a place like Apex that is dealing with super high tech stuff.
Yes.
They probably have somebody who occasionally goes into the Apple Podcast feed and types in Apex.
Yes.
To see if people are talking about them. And then when they have like, well, this is clearly an insider within the company leaking our secrets. Like, I find it hard to believe that goes that far.
Well, it's not going to be hard to find out who the guy is.
Well, and for as high tech as that place is, their overall like door pass security pretty weak.
Yes.
Like, I've had a badge at like the group I work with. There's certain doors within the own building I can't get into. I can't imagine I could go to one of the other facilities on the other side of the state and just start badging into stuff with my badge. Let alone go on the super underground magic tunnel to Hong Kong and all my stuff work.
Yeah. Well, even that one place that you and me worked at, our badges will only let us go into certain areas. So, yeah.
Yeah. Like, I probably couldn't have gotten into the sacrificial robot test room with my mid-level clearance badge.
Yes.
Seems like there'd only be 3 or 4 people that could get into there at any given time.
Well, and what is up with monster movies and little kids? I mean, my God. I'm just like, I don't care about either one of these kids. I just don't.
The girl was one of the guy's kids, right? So she had like kind of a purpose, but there was the heavyset kid, Josh, I think his name was.
Yeah.
He, like, much like Indiana Jones at Raiders of the Lost Ark, if you remove him from the movie, The only thing he contributed was he brought the van.
And he poured water on the computer.
Alcohol.
Alcohol, sorry. He poured alcohol, yes.
Which I don't think that would work the way that it showed to work there. Because again, you're gonna tell me that kind of tech doesn't have some kind of water resistance to it. It's not like they dumped a bucket of water. It was a flask.
Yes.
And most of it didn't even make it into it. Like, there is... No.
Well, and then the kid...
Well, also, wait. I got to go back to that. He sat down and thought that he was just going to guess a password?
Yes. 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 Yeah.
And it let him try it like dozens of times before it locked him out. That seems like a 2-pass there.
Yes.
Before it's locked out. So.
Yes.
Or, they would have had a like, either way, like that drove me crazy. That was like, we'll just do this to fix it.
Yep. Well, then the kid helping out Kong, I guess at least her story made somewhat, because she was somewhat communicating with Kong, I guess.
Yeah.
But it wasn't needed. You didn't need that.
Right. Well, I mean...
I already gathered just from the interactions they showed of Kong that he was somewhat pretty smart, and he was, kind of putting 2 and 2 together type thing.
Right. I think that's more to put him more on the good guy alignment.
Sure.
Because he has the soft spot for the little girl, and it is fair that like he trusts like the child, but not the adults. Like,
sure.
I mean, I would be more trusting of a kid than an adult typically, so I'm okay with that. But yeah, it was one of those like I don't want any of this.
Yeah. And then the water battle, I hated.
So what I don't understand. So Kong, Godzilla, they're what? An aircraft carrier is got to be at least 10 stories tall.
Yes.
So when Kong's standing on it, he is clearly 30 stories tall. I'd say that's fair if we're using that as the scale. Godzilla is an equal 30 stories tall.
The scaling in this movie is very weird.
Yes. It's like when Megatron would turn into a gun that a human could hold at times.
Yes.
So obviously Kong just gets his tail whooped in the water fight, which is to be expected. But Godzilla, I guess, has him wrapped up with his tail and is dragging him to the depths. So Godzilla at 30 stories, Kong at 30 stories, approximately. I mean, they were way underwater, so they're at least another 30 stories underwater. Yeah. And they were going into like a cavern almost, like a crack. Yeah. How did the depth charges that they shoot, that were all over the place, even work?
Yes. Oh, and then how did the one scene it looked like Godzilla was standing in the ocean, looking at King Kong on the aircraft carrier?
Well, I mean, he's buoyant. I mean, if you're like treading water, like he could just been kicking a little bit extra with his tail.
So he was doggy paddling, huh?
Yeah. Well, I think it's more lizard paddling at that point, but something along those lines.
Yeah.
Now I saw someone like they drew the picture and it was like actually Godzilla is king of legs, and then they just drew like really long legs on him for that part. But no, I mean I'm more okay with not understanding his buoyancy and him being able to make it look like he's standing like that. Compared to other things that just drove me insane.
Yeah.
So Godzilla just obliterates Kong, basically. And then is like done with, like, he's not even killed, but he's just like, okay, you're not even worth my time, I guess.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
And then somehow they trick him by turning the boat off. That also makes him think Kong is totally dead, even though he's not. Like, I
didn't understand that part either. I'm like, okay.
Well, because, yeah, I thought he was sensing King Kong, not the boat.
Yeah, and I'm like, well, Godzilla can still hear his heart beating, so...
Right. Which you would think, because he's laying on a boat in the water, he would be able to hear it even better.
Yeah.
Considering later on, the center of the earth, he can sense something going on. Like, I don't know, unless it really was just like he decided that Kong just wasn't even worth his time.
Well, and okay, when we get to that scene, that also, I'm like, what? So, getting to the hollowed earth thing.
Yeah, so they can't start the boat back up.
Yeah.
Because reasons, I guess.
Yes.
So the next scene is them, like, how's Kong do with heights? And then they have him being helicoptered. Literally his fur has started to freeze because he's being transported by air to Antarctica.
They skipped the part of how they loaded King Kong onto the nets there. Yes.
They just had the girl ask him nicely.
Go back to sleep, Kong. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's in the middle of the ocean, so he knows that he's got kind of no choice.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
So we get a scene. I'm sure there's other stuff we're skipping, but yeah. So we're gonna go into the Hollow Earth. King Kong's playing in the snow for a little bit.
Yes.
I guess so. Apex is involved at this point because if I caught it right, they sent somebody. There's like a portal that takes you to the Hollow Earth.
Yes.
They've sent somebody before, but like I guess the craft couldn't take the stress.
So remember that there's a portal to take you to Hollow Earth. So you have to go through this portal.
Yeah, it's the only way.
Yes.
So Kong goes through it. They go through it. They pull a Willy Wonka in the chocolate factory with the lighting effects.
Yes.
Which I'm sitting there and I'm watching it. And I'm just like, this is super cheesy. And I was like, I don't know how else you convey going through a portal.
Yes.
So I guess that's the best way to do it.
Yes.
Or something. But they go through and it's basically the land before time.
Yep.
You got, I was going to name all the land before time dinosaurs, but I can't remember them. None of them are there.
No.
So this is a magic world where gravity is inverted. If you get to the top of the level, you can jump to the other side and all of a sudden gravity is different over there. If you're King Kong, you basically, if you didn't have humans helping you, are chumped out in 2 minutes into your new home.
Yes.
Because, like, I'm pretty sure, like, once he was wrapped up by whatever that thing was, and it was suffocating him, it's over.
Yeah, it looked like he was losing. It looked like he was doing a comeback.
Yeah, so once again, he needs outside interference from humans to help him in a pretty basic fight.
Kong bows down to no one, though.
Yeah. Well, he's the leader of the faction, so I mean, I'm pretty sure we're showing that Kong is the villain here more and more if we're using wrestling logic.
Yes.
I don't know. Is there anything before they get to the bizarre throne room thing? Is there anything else that stuck out to you?
I guess they were showing future bad guys with the crabs and the baby Godzilla thing. I don't know. I don't know what that was about.
Right. Well, I would guess that this is where all the crazy monsters lived at one point in time.
Yeah.
No. But like they showed like the March Madness tournament thing of Kong and Godzilla where they've all defeated and moved on to the tournament finals.
That's a great way to explain it. Got March Madness tournament bracket.
I mean, that's what they showed was a tournament bracket. Like 100%. So yeah, Kong does the jump from one part of the level to the other thing where gravity inverts, which like I poke a little bit of fun at that, but honestly, I don't know how, like, if you were somewhere that was theoretically the center of the earth,
the
way like gravity would be weird I would guess.
Sure.
So I don't know.
Sure. Yeah.
Like I don't know. I'm not smart enough to actually explain that one way or the other.
No.
But he eventually finds, like, I guess where he used to sit or his family used to sit on a throne.
I assumed, yeah.
With
His
a magic
family,
axe.
his ancestors. It's his ancestors with the magic warhammer or war axe. There, yes.
Well, the one thing that I did like about this, like, the axe looked cool.
Sure. Yeah.
I liked that they, like, so he puts it in the wireless charging ring, like you would your phone.
Yes.
And they're like, oh, it's absorbing radiation. So I was like, okay, that's fine, because that at least explains it in a non-magic way.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, okay, it's absorbing radiation. Now, I hate to question the IQ of enormous prehistoric creatures like King Kong.
Yes.
So were the Kong race, like, super intelligent to figure this out? Was there, like, a group that helped them? Like, I want to know how this came about.
I don't know who built the city. Did they build the city? Did whoever built the city? Yeah, I didn't know where that was going.
Like, that's something I wanted to know, because that seems like, I want to say that seems like really advanced, but it's really just taking a particular rock and making it into an axe. And then you figure out, if I lay it here, it gets charged up.
I thought the blade was actually a scale from one of the previous Godzilla things.
I was wondering that. So
I mean, I could be wrong, but I thought that's where they were going with it.
That's kind of what I thought too.
Yeah.
So, like, I thought that, but I was like, well, I feel like they would have pointed that out. Like, is that one of Godzilla's scales or something?
Yeah. I mean, just because it looked like one of Godzilla's scales.
Right.
I don't know.
Yeah, I just wondered if it was like a magic rock or something. Like, I wasn't sure. I had thought that, but I just feel like someone would have been like, is that one of Godzilla's scales? Like, that's all. One scene where someone says that. That's all you got to do.
Well, yeah, I mean, you have the humans being annoying halfway all through the movie anyway, so why can't you just have someone point that out? I mean, yeah, I mean, but when you get to Hollowed Earth, it could be magic rock, it could be Godzilla's. Who knows what's going on in this place?
Right. No, I think you're right though. Is like, because if it is pulling up radiation, that also means that Godzilla charges up with radiation. Somehow.
I thought in one of the movies they nuked Godzilla to give him extra power.
There's been that. I think there was one where he got struck by lightning. Like, there's been a lot of different things over the years. So I don't know the mechanics of this particular Godzilla fight. I don't know where his AoE is. I don't know what his insta-kill mechanics are.
So here's where Hollowed Earth goes to crap. Godzilla shoots.
Well, wait, because Godzilla realizes that a scale of a Godzilla, most likely, is being charged up.
Yes.
Somewhere that you have to go through a portal to get to.
Oh, yeah. Not Godzilla's beam, though. It does not need portals.
Yeah, I like that. So in the first Godzilla, like, his beam was like his super, like, V-trigger from Street Fighter. Like, you had to charge up the meter to use it. And now it's just like a spammable light attack. Like, just non-stop, like, laser beams.
Yes.
And, yeah, I'll let you explain what happens next.
So his beam shoots through the earth all the way down to where Godzilla's at. And now you don't need a portal to get out of Hollowed Earth. You can just climb right out of it like King Kong does. I'm like, what?
Yeah,
you broke the rules of your own reality. I hate when movies do that, when they break rules that they've already set up in their own little universe there, and they break them.
Well, they definitely made it seem as though you needed that portal.
Yeah.
Like, there wasn't another way. Because if you're having trouble surviving the portal, and you could just drill through the center of the Earth to it, why wouldn't you do that?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, so Godzilla does that. I guess trying to hit Kong, like...
Yeah. I don't know what he...
I mean, that would have been an amazing, like, snipe, basically. Like, oh... What if the movie ended there? Like, Godzilla's beam does hit Kong, and it just nukes him, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like, wow, that was super anticlimactic.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's like a fight going on with these bat things, too, down in Hollowed Earth.
Which
doesn't really matter.
It wasn't necessary. I don't know why they put that in there.
I guess they wanted to kill off those other dudes for some reason. Oh, the other thing is they have a little spider robot that gets a sample of the radiation stuff for the power source that's going to power up Mechagodzilla. That's pretty important.
I guess.
Yes. I mean, it comes to play. So Kong goes with his Warhammer axe here, climbs up from Hollowed Earth to regular Earth in Japan.
Yes.
And now we're ready for round 2.
Yes.
So I do like that by pointing out that the axe was absorbing radiation.
Yeah.
When he uses the axe to, like, kind of block Godzilla's blast that's just melting everything else, it at least makes sense.
Sure.
And then...
Well, you definitely need to give Kong something to, because, like you said, Godzilla's beam attack is just nonstop. Doesn't need a charge. He just does it.
Yeah,
So
like
you need a King Kong to deflect it somehow.
Yeah, unless he's waiting for somebody to show up and, like, nerf Godzilla in the middle of the fight. Like, whoa, this is too much. In general, like, I guess they were like, oh, I guess round 2 goes to Kong. But not really. Like, I would consider that all, like, this second part, I would consider all one fight.
Godzilla pretty much wiped the floor with Kong here.
Yeah, because basically, like, he does kind of put Godzilla down for a minute.
Yeah.
But then the axe no longer has the charge to it.
Yep.
So Godzilla's back up. I guess it was the other point where they just destroy the city.
Yes.
Like, so bad. Now, something that did drive me crazy is you're seeing Godzilla instantly melt through skyscrapers.
Yeah.
And Kong grabs, like, I don't know, maybe a rotating restaurant or something from the top of one of the buildings.
Captain America shield, yeah.
Yeah, and uses it as a shield.
Yeah.
I don't think that thing would have stopped. He only stopped it for very briefly with that. But based on the destruction he was doing with everything else, I don't think it would have stopped the beam long enough for that to work.
Yeah.
But either way, like, so at this point, once the axe is out of charge, Godzilla just crushes him on land too. Like, it's over.
Yes.
Yes.
So but Godzilla doesn't finish the fights. Apparently, after he defeats you, he's just like,
he wants you to bleed out or whatever.
You're not worth my time. I'm not finishing you. And he just walks away.
Well, I guess he knew that Kong was going to die. Because, like, the little aircraft pods they have, I guess, generate a ton of power. So some way, there's a setting in there on one of the dials to turn it into a defibrillator.
Yes.
So they use that on Kong, who... Yeah. So... this is a criticism in general. It just happens to be during this movie that I'm going to make it. I've seen many things where... So Kong was basically beaten to death. Like, he's going to die. It's not that he had a heart attack and his heart's not beating. His body is so destroyed that it can't function anymore. His systems are shutting down.
Yes.
I don't think being defibrillated in that case is going to bring him back to near full strength.
The only
Unless they had a sensu bean.
That's what I was getting ready to say. The only series that I've seen pull this off is Dragon Ball Z, because the Saiyans would turn into a new form, and that would like re-energize them.
Yeah. Well, yeah, like
So
the
that
sensu
makes
bean
sense
is
to me.
perfect.
Yes, it makes sense to me. Okay, because they explained that in that universe, but in a lot of movies, like you said,
Yeah.
probably just charge your heart back up. You're good to go.
Yeah, like if you were to say like spear me through like a drywall wall and window
Yes. Yeah.
off like the second story of my house, and then I land on a pile of cinder blocks with you on top of me,
Yes.
and I'm totally destroyed.
Yes.
Getting my heart beating again
It's not
doesn't
gonna make
fix
you
a lot
feel-
of my issues.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
But what like now Godzilla, where I've seen in the past like lightning could recharge him or something, or he absorbs like energy.
Yeah.
Like I can get okay with that a little bit better. I don't really know that, because by this standard, when Kong fell off the Empire State Building, just hook him up to a couple trucks and you're good to go.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So I don't know, but yeah, so I was happy that Godzilla got his win back, because I'm pretty sure in the old one Kong wins.
Oh, okay.
So this is Godzilla was like, losing twice doesn't work for me, brother.
Yes. Yes.
Pulled a Hogan.
I gotta sell more merchandise. I gotta win this. Yeah.
Be like, Kong,
So-
if you would have showed up with a little bit better of a tan, I might put you over. I know we've been
So
building this
Robot-
for over a year, but
So Robot Godzilla comes out, which I thought was a pretty cool fight, because Robot Godzilla just wipes the floor with Godzilla.
well, I mean, his maneuverability, because he uses like rockets to reposition.
Yes.
The effects they used for Mechagodzilla, I thought was really good.
Yeah.
I like they gave him like the red beam and everything. And yeah, he's just totally overmatches Godzilla. Like
Yeah.
there is. The thing is, like, it's funny though, because Godzilla wasn't trying to spam his laser immediately.
No.
That would have been the one thing that might have let him be able to win.
Yeah.
But instead, he wanted to square up with the robot.
Yes.
Which I wonder, like, does Godzilla even realize what he's fighting? Or is he just like, oh, it's a monster? Or because of the skull, does he think he's fighting that monster? Like,
Yeah, they really explained that. Again.
well,
if
I don't
you
even
have
think you're
annoying
supposed to
humans-
ask that. That's me being kind of nitpicky nerd about it. So
guess,
that's that.
but you-
That's not a complaint I will hold against the movie. That's just something I would like to know.
You already have annoying humans being annoying. They explain stuff like that. Like, oh, he senses a skull or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, like, oh, that skull's DNA is active because of what they've done to it at Apex, like something.
No.
Again, I mean, you're not supposed to ask those questions for a movie like this, so that one I think is a little. It's unreasonable for me to want that level of explanation. Doesn't
Yeah.
mean I don't want it. But yeah, so they give CPR to Kong.
Yeah.
Kong has to put his shoulder back in.
He was it reminded me of Lethal Weapon when
Yep.
Riggs would ram his shoulder into like the filing cabinet. Yeah.
Yep. I have never separated a shoulder or dislocated, but apparently that is a legitimate thing that you can do.
I mean, Lethal Weapon and Godzilla has done it, so apparently that's what I'm going to do if I ever separate my shoulder.
And then get ready for the pain.
Yes.
So the little girl explains to Kong that, hey, Godzilla has killed you twice, basically.
Yeah.
Maybe he's not the bad guy here. How about you go help him?
Yes.
And then reluctantly, Kong's like, well, I would kind of like to not die again. So I'm going to go ahead and
Yes.
bow,
Yes.
more or less. So Kong joins the fight.
Yeah.
2-on-1, Mechagodzilla has about zero chance.
Yeah.
And then you get the double team attack of Godzilla charging up the axe.
Yeah.
And then Kong goes Mortal Kombat.
Yes.
I don't know. Did you like that part of the fight?
I enjoyed the this whole fight scene. I mean, as much as we're criticizing about it, I enjoyed watching it.
Yeah,
because it delivered. It's what I wanted.
Yeah, if I would have just watched like the two big fight scenes, that probably would have been. I would have really enjoyed it. Be like, oh, that was really cool, and that'd be the end of it. Yeah. It's all the human stuff is getting in the way.
Oh God.
I'll say this. Remember the first Transformers movies when you'd finally get to where they were going to fight, but for whatever reason, Michael Bay got Kevin Dunn from WWE to do camera work, and they just cut every 2 seconds of the fight, so you never knew what was going on. I'm glad in a lot of the fight scenes with this that you got like one shot.
Yeah.
Like you could actually tell that the monsters were fighting. You weren't like, it wasn't like trying to watch like adult films through squiggly TVs where you're like, oh, I think that's an arm, but I'm not sure.
Yes.
Where it's like, oh, I think he just got kicked, but I just can't tell. And they fought in the daylight.
Yep.
So
yeah, it wasn't raining and lightning in the background.
Yeah, which is good. Again, because you could actually see what's going on. Like you're spending all this money on these effects. Let us see what's going on. So they dispatch of Mechagodzilla, and then they kind of face off for a second. And I was cracking up. I don't know if you had this reaction. Like Kong kind of looks down at his axe and then he throws it down. Like, he's like, okay, I'm not going to fight. And I was like, well, yeah, you're not going to fight. You've got your butt kicked every time. I'd be done too.
Sure.
Be like, at that point, I would say he was hoping that Godzilla doesn't decide to kill him a third time.
Yes. I do like Godzilla's intros and his exits. I do like how he does.
Yeah, he has a flair for the dramatic.
Yes.
But yeah, so I'm assuming we're gonna get because Kong at the end is in Hollow Earth, and he's happy
doing Kong things.
Yes, but they got it set up now. They got the Hollow Earth, so monsters can come from there for them to fight.
And Godzilla made it easier now. You don't have to go to the portal anymore.
So that downtown district in Japan.
Yes.
I mean, that's just a total loss at this point, right? You have a literal hole to monsters.
Yes.
like I don't know how you close that up because you can't fill it.
No,
so you got to build something over it, but there's still like just this tunnel that things are going to be able to crawl up if they get to it.
That's the new entrance to Hollow Earth. you can either go through the portal, which is really life threatening, or you can just go down to the hole.
Just rappel on down.
Yes.
Because there is no magma core to the Earth, apparently. Yeah, I mean, in general, like, I didn't like the movie because of the movie as a whole. The fight stuff between Godzilla and King Kong, which is what I was wanting to see anyway, I enjoyed that stuff.
So I will say this: years later, when people have spliced this, I'm probably going to watch this movie and just the fight scenes on YouTube clips. That's definitely the way to go. I would say. So, all right. Well, we'll close that out. So I like this better than the Snyder Cut. If for no other reason, it was shorter. Oh yeah, it didn't take me like 5 days to watch. So.
It was so bad. All right. Do you want to move on? What are we doing on time here? You want to talk some AEW or some Hearthstone or Warcraft?
Yeah, let's talk about some of AEW, I guess.
All right. Let's see here. All right. We had what looked to be the... Oh, wait. I'm going to bumper us.
I don't know what the hell's going on here, folks. Looks like he's just wearing blue.
This is a revolution.
All right. So Christian Cage and Frankie were the first match. Now, did you watch all of Dynamite or did you just watch some of it?
I watched all of it.
Okay. So, how did you feel about this match?
Well, that was all right.
Now, were you ever a big Christian fan?
Not really.
Okay. I've always been pretty neutral on him. Now, I have not seen any of his TNA run. So, basically, I just got like WWE Christian. I always thought he was a good wrestler, but I was never into him. So that's kind of where I come into. And I feel kind of about the same way about Frankie. I haven't seen much of his other stuff, but I mean, he's obviously competent. So it's not like I dislike him either. This match...
I thought this match went on way too long.
I was okay with it because I kind of knew it was going to be a Christian showcase kind of deal.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you're trying to make Christian Cage a threat, Frankie Kazarian, I mean, he's not really did much in AEW.
That's fair.
As far as being a threat, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand that.
So if you try to build up Christian Cage, I think that you could have made this match.
I think they're relying with this because I guess they feuded in TNA.
Yeah, sure.
So I think they're relying on that to where they're a match for each other kind of deal.
Gotcha.
So, which we both obviously have no history of. Like we're not aware of that, but that's my guess is that would be the in storyline explanation is the history they have with like fighting each other is why it would be the way it is. But yeah, it took me about a quarter to a third of the match before I started to get into it. Because, I mean, they definitely worked like a very slow, old school style match.
Yeah, they did.
Also, I kept thinking, once you got closer and closer to the finish, I was like, Christian, you have no idea what Summertime's going to bring if they're still at Daily's place. Because, like, he didn't look like he was blown up, like, from a breathing standpoint.
Yeah.
But he looked like he needed some Pedialyte when he got to the back, I'm guessing. For dehydration, because he looked like a sweaty mess.
Yeah.
So you think they're all hoping, please don't let us have to go through summer here again.
Yeah, because they looked terrible when they did that back last year.
Yeah.
It looked like they were just drowning in sweat.
Yeah, I think we were calling it swamp wrestling constantly.
Yes.
So hopefully they don't have to deal with that. Yeah, so Christian, no surprise, I would say, won the match.
With a terrible move.
I hate the kill switch or the unprettier, whatever you want to call it. I will say the way Frankie sold it, once he was locked in the move and then the drop, it looked really good. I still hate the grab the arms and twist with it, though.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's my problem. If there was a better setup to the move, I would be okay with it. Or if it was like a 2-count move. But as a finisher, I will never get behind it.
I agree with that.
Let's see here. Oh, there was a Sting and Darby promo with Matt Hardy. Like, another one of Darby's short films. I think this is my favorite short film that he did.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I agree with that.
One, you like actually got real Sting there this time. As opposed to just a picture of like some gloves or something. But yeah, like the whole thing was really good. So we're now in a world where if you get into a fight with any of the best friends, you're going to have a 6-month feud that has an ultra violent match at the end. So think real hard if you want to get into a feud with him. And then if you mess with Darby, he's going to make videos about you.
Yes.
Like, I just want one of the like bad guys to be like, somehow he's like, no, I'm not fighting either one of them. I don't want a bunch of videos made about me. I don't want to see you guys every week for 6 months and then get dropped on Legos or a car or something. No, you just go ahead. You guys can have the win.
Yeah. Don't trust me. I can't wait till we get to the last part.
So Jade Cargill has a thing.
Has a thing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I need to see her in more matches, but I mean, I think she's going to be fine. So this, the Cody and the QT thing, my expectations for this were super low.
Yes, mine was too.
I think that's being nice about it, just honestly. They got to... So, everything falls apart when QT punches Arn. They got to that part of it at just the right time for me, where I was about to get up and go do something else.
Yes.
Like, they had me sold on it actually being like this exhibition that something was going to happen, but it'd be at the end. And then you get the other, well, I guess they're not Nightmare Family more. I don't know what they are now, but they knock out Arn. They jump him with chairs. So you got Solo, Anthony Ogogo, and then the Camarado guy.
Yeah.
All turned on everybody else.
Yeah.
Dustin Rhodes gets busted open. Shockingly, I know. Who would have thought? Yeah. The fact that Cody didn't bleed amazed me.
Yeah, I was amazed by that too.
So Camarado is doing the power bomb from the inside to the outside. I want to see him and Cage versus somebody else, and there just be a moment where they're trying to show the other up, and like Camarado power bombs the guy to the outside, and Cage is like, no, picks him up and goes from the outside to the inside, and they do that to the guy like 4 or 5 times before they start fighting, like just passing him back and forth like it's some kind of bizarre tennis game.
So you remember when during the NWO days, the big boss man was Ray Traylor?
Yes.
All right. So QT Marshall having his own faction would be like me, would be like Ray Traylor hitting his own faction to feud against the NWO. I don't care about it.
Well, QT's not going to be there for long, I have the feeling.
Yeah.
I assume those 3 are going to turn on him fairly quickly. I
would. But you are not going to be bossing me around. You are a jobber.
Well, but if you look from like QT has a pretty solid position backstage, it would be to your benefit to take advantage of that for a while.
Sure.
Like you can get some extra matches on Dark or Elevation, get some extra paychecks, get some extra experience. So I could see that. Now, did you expect that to happen during this match?
I didn't expect it. I think somebody on Instagram said it the best. They're like, really? Out of everyone to give a faction to, why wouldn't you give a faction to Scorpio Sky? You give it to QT Marshall. And they're like, Scorpio Sky is stuck on Dark, and QT Marshall's on Dynamite. It should be the other way around. And
Scorpio Sky, he's got him and Ethan Page are doing dueling promos.
I don't know, dude. I'm just like, you guys got this backwards. QT Marshall, I'm sorry, he's not interesting at all.
I mean, he's got the diamond cutter going for him, but yeah, they need. And I mean, I watch like Sammy's vlog where there's a lot more character development for QT, and he's not a threat, I guess. Kind of like you were saying, like with Frankie. I just don't view him as a threat. So, I mean, they might be able to build him up. I mean, they got him surrounded with some pretty good people right now. Camarado looks like a monster, so we'll have to see. But yeah, it's definitely going to be. It'll be interesting to see if they can pull it off.
I'm sorry, I agree with that guy. That should be Scorpio Sky's faction. It should. Yeah.
Well, I will say this: it surprised me. Yeah, I'm not as harsh on the QT being a part of it, but I absolutely understand that criticism to it because it's like him. But we did go from that to the Ethan Page Scorpio Sky weird promo style.
Yes,
I kind of liked it. I wonder if that's going to be their thing. I will say this: the Ego's Edge is one of my favorite moves to watch right now.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
like just some dude getting tossed through the air is pretty sweet. So let's see. Moxley fights Cesar Bononi. There was pretty much no point in this.
Other than Moxley the fight, yes.
Yes. And I guess that Caesar needs money for he's got like some weird family health stuff that popped up on Twitter where they were trying to get like it seems like really unfortunate stuff. So it might be trying to get him some extra paydays. But I mean, he did good in the match. Like,
yeah.
Moxley, I guess if you were to view it that way, gave him a decent amount to make him look like a pretty tough big guy.
Yeah.
So, especially considering like Bonani's like he's in a faction with the librarian, so he's pretty low end. But to at least like stand toe to toe with Moxley for a little bit has to give you a little bit of something.
Sure.
So I saw this and I was like, I wonder if Saul is happy, sad, or a mix on this. Pinnacle was going to get their gifts, and the Inner Circle has returned already.
Yes.
So I'll ask this in two parts. Like, was the overall return of the Inner Circle, not barring time frame, but just the way they came back and were getting revenge, was that something that you were like, that's how you kind of thought it should go?
So yeah, the return I liked.
Okay. Now what about the time frame? You think it should have waited longer?
I do not like. Yes, it should have been longer. Because now I'm like, so you're going to make the Pinnacle lose because the Inner Circle has such a strong comeback.
I'm assuming, this is my assumption here, is that it's going to lead to probably blood and guts. Like, especially with Dax getting busted open.
Yeah.
Like, well, I assume that wasn't intentional because it looks like he has like actual like stitches. I saw a picture of it. I assume Pinnacle wins this feud. Like, they have to.
Yeah.
But I think you were saying like the other week, let them go through a few like legitimate teams first to build them up some, and then get to Inner Circle coming back.
Now, if you're going to amp it up until the next pay-per-view of them just fighting each other, okay, I guess. But I don't know.
Yeah, that would be my assumption, is you're going to get back and forth. Because like this was the receipt from the previous, where this time Pinnacle gets unexpectedly jumped and taken out. So now they're just going to have a war.
Yeah.
Or I don't know, they might just do a Dynamite special where it's blood and guts.
Yeah, it could be.
I mean, we'll have to find out. But yeah, I mean, I liked the fight was very close to cinematic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know, like the whole thing, like I thought it was really well done, but it does feel like it was a little bit too soon. But at the same time, if you want it to have like a surprise element,
yeah,
I was definitely surprised to see them back already. I mean, Jericho was the only one who, well, yeah, for the most part, Jericho was the only one who was really, really taken out. Yeah, and that was just a powerbomb off the stage. So we've seen people coming back from that, in 2 weeks basically already. So it's reasonable, but it would have been nice to give them a little bit more, another week or two. But
I would say 2 more weeks. At least, but that's just me.
Yeah, and have like the week where, like this week, if they would have called out the Inner Circle, they don't show next week, and then they show something like that. It feels like a minor thing. All right, so Young Bucks and Don Callis are doing their thing, where the Young Bucks need to look in a mirror. Trios match, pretty good trios. Kenny's team won, which I mean, obviously they're going to at this point. Laredo Kid is good. I think I sent you the message at one point in this match. If Ray Phoenix were to just stand in the middle of the ring and start flying, I wouldn't really be like, I'd be surprised, but it wouldn't be like, I can't believe that happened. It'd be like, that kind of makes sense. It explains a lot of things.
Yes, he's good.
So Kenny hits Laredo Kid with a one-winged angel. Laredo Kid does not kick out at 3.5 this time. Probably because he'd like to come back to AEW one day. I think the AAA match that Kenny had with him was where he kicked out at like 3.25 or something. It was just like, that's probably how they do it there.
Sure.
Looks like we're setting up Moxley and the Bucks against Omega and the Good Brothers.
Yeah.
You think the Bucks are turning on Moxley?
No, I think eventually it's going to lead to the Good Brothers beating the Bucks and taking the belts.
Yeah. Do you think we end up?
Because I think Kenny's going to take whoever has the TNT, whatever.
Yeah.
The
TNA.
Impact, whatever. I think he's going to take that championship, and I think the Good Brothers is going to
get back the TNA titles.
Yes.
Okay. All right. We had Sheeta, Conti, Nyla, Bunny. Bunny actually wins. But Down the Rabbit Hole is not my favorite finisher.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a decent match, but not a lot to say on it. So, Arcade Anarchy.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Anarcade Anarchy match?
You already know how I feel about it, just because the people that are involved in it.
Now, what do you think? Let's go.
surprised.
We'll back up some. So Orange Cassidy got the Pixies song for his intro now.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
It's all right.
I thought it was
I think
really
it suits
good.
him.
Yeah,
I think it suits his character. So.
yeah. So I was pretty happy with that. So I know it got leaked kind of on Elevation or whatever, like kind of early, but that's pretty good. I'm wondering if they're going to keep spending money on licensed songs for people.
Well, I mean, it works well when you have Warner Brothers. As
Yeah.
your,
Well, I mean, there's got to be
artist.
something you could get for Hangman, like a cowboy song for sure.
Yeah.
Like-
We keep on talking about a Dixie Chick song for some reason, so I don't know. You might get that.
Wait, is there one in particular that he's named?
It's the Cowboy Take Me Away song. He's mentioned a couple times on Instagram.
I'm gonna have to listen to that song and see.
It is not a good song for Hangman. I don't know why he wants it.
Well, I saw someone. I was looking. They're talking about like the Wanted Dead or Alive song,
Yeah.
and it's like, yeah, the Steel Horse could be him on his riding lawnmower as opposed to a
Sure.
motorcycle. That'd be
Yeah.
pretty sweet.
Like I said, I hope he does not get his wish and get a Dixie Chick song because it will be terrible.
I feel like that's one of those. Maybe they would get rights to do it like one time, just for like. You remember when they did the Fighter Fest and it was like, just everything went wrong, kind of thing to
Yeah.
it. Like just like having fun with it. Maybe they could do it that way.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the match itself, Miro is unstoppable.
Yes.
Kip Sabian is very stoppable.
Yes. 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 The only thing I liked about it was, like you said, Miro. This looked like a madman. I mean, they're doing a job making him look like an insane lunatic.
Yes.
And I like Chris Statlander's whatever that move was called into the hockey puck thing.
Yeah, that was like a I don't know what it was, because her normal was like the Big Bang thing where it's
Yeah.
like that weird pile driver.
Yeah.
I don't know if this was a different version or a totally different move, but it was good to see her back.
Yeah.
And then we got Jay Leno, young Jay Leno shows up in the minivan in all denim. It's a shame that his headband is not made out of denim as well. He's really missing an opportunity there.
If people don't understand that joke, just look up Jay Leno. He loves
Any picture doesn't matter.
he He loves denim for some reason. I don't know why, but
Well, you sent me a picture the other day. It was Jay Leno like meditating, but he's in all denim. But my comment to it was like, I'm really let down that this isn't in like the jeans department of a store.
yes.
Because it was like trees and it looked weird. Did you like the Lego spot?
No.
What?
I thought it was stupid.
I would rather take thumbtacks than the Lego.
Oh, don't get me wrong. It's gonna hurt, sure. I don't know. I just thought it was dumb.
I thought it was very fitting. Because one, it made me laugh, and two, it was like, oh, that would hurt so much. Because a thumbtack is going to puncture you. Hard plastic block, that can chip a vertebrae.
Sure.
So I would say the Legos are more dangerous.
Sure. Yeah. And then when the chip or whatever the mom shows up, I'm like,
Sue?
oh, what is up with this mom? I don't know why they have that obsession with bringing his mom in there.
Well, he needed a ride. He doesn't have a car.
I'm sorry, the best friends were just cheesy. I cannot get behind them.
Right. Yeah, it's just not your kind of thing.
But, I don't know, dude. I don't like them for some reason.
Right. I mean, I can kind of understand it. Like, it's right in that area where sometimes it drives me crazy and other times I really like it.
Well, it reminds me a lot. Remember Norman Smiley?
Yeah. Screaming Norman?
During when OCW was going downhill fast. That's what it reminds me of. I'm just like, this is not funny. This is dumb.
Yeah, I absolutely get it, because there's things that drive me crazy about it, but there's other things that I really like. So it's that middle ground. I thought this was a good match, though, and it is, again, you get involved with the best friends, it's not going to end good for you. You might win, but it's not going to be good. Kip gets pinned eventually. Sue ran over Miro, drug him around. They drowned him in the Stadium Stampede area. I think King Kong showed up at one point and hit him with his axe. So, but still couldn't be pinned. But they do a power slam through a table to Kip, and it's over. Granted, it was like 4 on 2.5 because Penelope just got obliterated by the sneak attack by the alien. So the thing that I'm looking forward to is they ask, so Miro does like Twitch streaming, and for the most part, he's not really in like the Miro wrestling character. He's just himself. But someone asked, they're like, hey, what's going to happen when you see Kip? And he is like, oh, me and Kip are still friends, but I just want to talk to him. I would just like to see him at Dynamite just so we can talk. That's all I want to do is talk. And they were like, Kip is a dead man.
Sure.
He is going to die. So I assume that we're going to get that here real soon, because now Miro has a blemish on his record at Kip's hands. So, and then Miro can move, because he's already talking about the world title. So,
and that's fine. Move him away from all this. And move him,
Well, at this point, though, do you feel, because we talk about this is like the weekly Miro update, but because I'll still see people be like, you got him doing this and he rode in on a tank. And I think you were the one who told me about Tony Khan saying like, yeah, we didn't get tank riding Miro. We got weird marriage angle Miro. You got to give him some time to get something going. And happy-go-lucky Miro realizing that he's actually a psychopath has been pretty good.
I think get away from Kip.
Yeah.
And then have him start taking on factions. Have him take on QT's faction. Just like,
well, who would you have?
Slowly make him into a lunatic.
Yeah. Well, so we're going to assume that he'll probably end up with a match with Miro or with Kip, probably. Pretty much zero doubt that he's going to lose that. Who would you have him have a feud with? Like, who would his first like proper feud be? Or would you just have him go on a run of like just random kind of like mid-card people and just beat them up? Or would you go into a feud?
The problem is that AEW has very few good guys.
Yeah.
It's all heels almost. So they need to start making some good guys.
Well, I mean, you got Inner Circle, but they're going to be occupied. Cody's occupied.
Are the Inner Circle good guys?
I mean, they're more good guys than the Pinnacle at this point.
Sure.
Which, I mean, many people want Shades of Grey all the time, so there's definitely a lot of that going on.
So Zack Snyder is writing the AEW script.
Yes.
Okay.
Like, yeah, just thinking of the roster. Let's see here. Who would we put? So, the top contenders. Now, if you want to cool off Hangman a little bit, you could let Miro feud with Hangman.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Hangman and the Dark Order are kind of good guys.
Yeah.
So I guess
because Hangman's 4-0. Because right now he's the next contender. I think he's the top contender right now. Yeah. Let's see here. Let's look at the rankings. I think he's the number one ranking for the world title. Yeah, Hangman's number one. So if you want to hold off on that, you could have him beat Hangman.
You don't want him beating Hangman though, do you?
I mean, if you want to cool it off, like you could actually have him lose a match, but because now he has friends, it doesn't destroy him.
Yeah, that's true. I guess.
Like you could sure. I'm just thinking of only if, because as it is right now, it would be Hangman's going to be the next one to fight Omega. I don't think you want Omega losing to Hangman yet.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you want Hangman losing again and then rebuild him back up. I don't know if that would be the way to go. So you could give Miro a real big win against Hangman, with a little bit of a feud involved where he's like fighting with the Dark Order too, but they're kind of involved with Matt Hardy. I mean, there's Jungle Boy. He could move on to another 3-person faction. You have Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus that he can fight with.
I think that's a step down. I thought you wanted to go a step above.
I'm looking at people. There's not a lot of people. I mean, if Brian Cage becomes a full-on good guy, I mean,
eventually that's going to happen.
They've done a really bad job with establishing faces. I mean, Lance Archer is not doing too much.
Yeah, who knows what he's doing? Him and Jake Snakes is
being weirdo. They're out trying to find more snakeskin clothing.
Yeah, who knows what they're doing?
Because
you only have Sting and Darby and Hangman, and who knows what the hell Cody's doing? Who knows?
Yeah, no, I mean, there's definitely like everybody is involved. So yeah, I guess you just have him beat up random dude. Have him beat up Jungle Boy. Have it like where it's not even a feud. He's just running through people for a while some feuds finish up.
Make him the evil Ultimate Warrior. Just have him just going on just destroying things. You know?
As long as he runs to the ring as well. So
yes.
Yeah, we'll have to see. But yeah, I mean, it's he's at least at a better point than he was for sure.
Yeah. I'll agree.
Does this give you more faith in trying to be a little bit patient with AEW taking time for things to develop?
Maybe.
Or do you still have like that, I mean, it's watching a story, so it's not quite the right word, but that anxiety where they're just going to ruin something?
I don't think they're going to ruin it. I have a little bit more faith in them than WWE, I guess. So.
You mean like they're not going to take someone like, we'll just make up a name here, like Lobby Bashley, some guy, put him in a faction, build it up, make it actually be really good, and then just get rid of it for no reason?
Yeah. I'm shocked that they haven't ruined Roman Reigns yet.
Give it time. Like
I know.
The I don't know. Yeah, WrestleMania is next week.
Is it really?
Yep. I do not currently have Peacock. I don't know if I'm going to get it. I might actually not. Well, there might be a way to watch it on Twitch if somebody's streaming it, but
yes.
It might be a year where I don't watch WrestleMania.
I probably won't watch it because I don't know anything. You told me about a guy named Bad Bunny. I don't even know who that is.
Oh, the Bad Bunny guy. He is very big in pretty much every other country.
Okay.
Bad Bunny. But he is a rapper, I think, or a musician. Yeah, Puerto Rican rapper.
I didn't know if he was a movie star, a singer.
It's actually there was a period of time where the Bunny was coming out with Adam Rose, and then he had a heel turn, and this is him.
Yes.
Yeah, but I mean, apparently, like he's like super popular, not in America, for the most part.
Okay.
So, with him being like a Puerto Rican rapper, yeah, like on Instagram, he's got like 31 million followers. So,
okay. Well, there you
which
go.
is pretty big. So I assume they're trying to get some extra reach out of him. And then you got Jake Paul is going to be hanging out with Sami Zayn. Oh man.
So are we done?
Yeah, I think we could be done with that.
No.
And then, yes.
It was good. It was good. It was good talking. It was good ripping into things. There's a lot of negativity more than positivity this week, but
Yeah, but it's more lighthearted negativity.
yes,
Like
it's true.
questioning how Godzilla can beam a hole through the earth is way different than the other negativity going on in the world.
This is very true. It's very true.
All right. I'm going to use our new intro as the outro just because. So here we go. All right. You can hit us up. We got agonyofpositivity.com. Has a link for email if you want to do it that way. At the AOP podcast on Twitter.
Instagram. I'm doing stuff on Instagram again. So hey.
Ooh. Man, I'm going to have to download the app again, aren't I? Considering every time I click on anything, it's like open the Instagram app, but I don't have it.
Yeah.
So, all right. Here we go.
You put him down. Put him down. I'm not looking up.
3, 2,